Imagine this. You are a cosmic engineer tasked with designing life for a new planet. You present your latest creation to the board of directors. It's a fish, you explain, but you've made some edits. You've sawed off the back half of its body, replacing its powerful tail with a flimsy rudder-like stump. You've removed its swim bladder, forcing it to flap two floppy fins just to stay afloat, like a perpetually surprised bird trying to fly underwater. Its mouth is a tiny fixed O of shock, and its eyes are huge vacant pools of utter confusion. You proudly announce that its primary survival strategy is to get so infested with parasites that other animals clean it out of pity, and its defense mechanism is to be so bland and worthless to eat that predators often give up mid-bite. The board would fire you on the spot. They'd call your creation a joke, a mistake, a crime against nature. And yet this creature exists. It thrives in every ocean on Earth, a giant swimming paradox that defies all logic. It is a being of extremes, a masterpiece of terrible decisions that somehow add up to a stunning success. This is the story of the Mola, the ocean sunfish, and the hidden genius behind the dumbest fish alive. Let's begin the case against the sunfish with the most obvious evidence, its body. It looks less like a product of streamlined evolution and more like a celestial being sneezed, and this is what came out. The Mola is essentially a giant swimming head. Its scientific name, Mola, is Latin for millstone, which is a perfect description for a creature that's shaped like a massive, flat, gray dinner plate that somehow gained sentience. It appears as though evolution designed a perfectly normal, colossal fish, got to the halfway point, lost interest, and just stitched the back end closed. What should be a powerful tail, a caudal fin, is instead a bizarre scalloped fringe of flesh called a clavus. This is not a tail, it's a rudder, and a clumsy one at that. So how does this behemoth move? It propels its multi-ton body forward by flapping its two massive dorsal and anal fins, the ones on the top and bottom, in a goofy, wobbling motion. It's less like swimming and more like a panicked underwater flight. While they can achieve surprising bursts of speed, most of their lives are spent in a state of leisurely, uncoordinated drifting. Making matters worse, the sunfish lacks a swim bladder, the gas-filled organ most fish use to effortlessly control their buoyancy. Instead, to keep from sinking like the millstone it's named after, it relies on a thick, jelly-like layer of subcutaneous tissue that's almost 90% water. This makes it naturally buoyant, but robs it of any semblance of agility. It's a living, breathing water balloon. Its face only adds to the absurdity. Its teeth are fused into a parrot-like beak, set in a tiny gaping mouth that it can't fully close, giving it a perpetual look of vacant surprise. Combine this with two enormous, unblinking eyes that seem to stare into a dimension beyond our own, and you have a creature that looks permanently stunned by its own existence. This is an animal built from all the leftover parts, a biological absurdity that shouldn't work. And yet this is just the beginning of its problems. If the sunfish's body is a poorly designed vehicle, then its lifestyle is a journey through a world of pain and humiliation. Its thick, rubbery hide may seem like armor, but it's less of a fortress and more of a welcome mat. The Mola is a walking, swimming, all-you-can-eat buffet for parasites. In fact, it's not just a buffet, it's a 5-star luxury resort. Scientists have identified over 50 different species of parasites that live on and inside this creature, from crustaceans burrowing into its skin to flatworms setting up camp in its digestive tract. It's such a paradise for parasites that even its parasites have their own smaller parasites. It is a complete mobile ecosystem of freeloaders. So, what's the sunfish's brilliant strategy for dealing with this biblical infestation? It asks for help. The mola will frequently swim to the surface and turn on its side, floating like a giant, helpless pancake. This is where it gets its common name, the sunfish, as it was once thought to be sunbathing. While it does this to warm up after deep, cold dives, its primary purpose is to turn itself into a cleaning station. Seabirds, like gulls and albatrosses, will land on the floating fish and start picking the parasites off its exposed side. Meanwhile, smaller fish like wrasse or angelfish work on the submerged half below. It's a full-service spa day, paid for by offering up its own body. The tragic irony? This moment of relief is also one of its greatest vulnerabilities. Slow and groggy from the cold depths, it can't react quickly to threats, and countless sunfish die each year from collisions with boats. But what about actual predators? Surely this slow, defenseless creature is an easy meal for sharks or orcas? Well, yes and no. Once a mola reaches its full, car-sized glory, most predators just seem to avoid it. But some, particularly sea lions, can't resist. They will attack the sunfish, tear off its fins, and then get bored. You see, the sunfish's ultimate defense is to be one of the most disgusting and unsatisfying meals in the entire ocean. Its flesh is watery, gelatinous, filled with tough cartilage, and riddled with parasites. Predators that take a bite are often left with a mouthful of regret. Sea lions have been observed playing with the finless, still-living sunfish, tossing its massive disc-like body around like a frisbee before abandoning it to sink slowly into the abyss. It is a creature so pathetic, it turns predators into bullies. If its body is an evolutionary joke and its lifestyle a tragic comedy, then its intelligence or lack thereof is the punchline. When we call something dumb, we usually mean it relatively. Not so with the mola mola. This creature challenges the very definition of conscious thought. The sunfish possesses one of the lowest brain-to-body ratios in the entire animal kingdom. Imagine a creature the size of a small car, weighing over 2 tons, yet housing a brain no bigger than a walnut. Its central nervous system is equally diminutive, suggesting its mind runs on what one might call an early alpha version of intelligence, with updates disabled. To gaze into the colossal, unblinking eyes of a sunfish is not to seek wisdom or connection, it's mostly to see your own reflection. There's an undeniable emptiness there, a perpetual state of bewildered zen. This profound lack of intellect, however, paradoxically contributes to its gentle nature. Sunfish exhibit no aggression towards other marine life and are remarkably friendly towards humans. Divers often report curious molas approaching them, staring with their vacant, saucer-like eyes, as if trying to comprehend these strange, bubble-blowing intruders. They've even been known to bump into boats, not out of malice or even curiosity, but perhaps just a slow-motion accident, a momentary lapse in its already rudimentary navigational processing. If a sunfish could get angry, it simply wouldn't have the capacity or temperament to translate that anger into action. It lacks the tools, the speed, and frankly, the processing power to be anything other than a placid, if clumsy, oceanic wanderer. They drift through life with an almost philosophical detachment, entirely unburdened by the complexities of higher thought. This isn't just a fish that isn't particularly smart. This is a fish that seems to have opted out of the intelligence game entirely. It's the lovable, chunky, derpy idiot of the deep, and its apparent mindlessness is yet another testament to its perplexing existence. So, we have a creature with a nonsensical body, a life of parasitic torment, and the intellectual capacity of a sea cucumber. How could such a being possibly ensure its own survival into the next generation? The answer, in true mola mola fashion, is one of the most wasteful, inefficient, and yet somehow successful reproductive strategies on the planet. It's a strategy built not on quality, but on a mind-boggling, almost incomprehensible quantity. Animation showing millions of eggs being released into the ocean. The female ocean sunfish holds a world record. She is the most fecund vertebrate on Earth, capable of producing more eggs than any other animal with a backbone. A single female can carry and release up to 300 million eggs at once. It's a strategy of overwhelming odds, a biological shotgun blast into the vastness of the ocean with the hope that a single pellet hits the target. And for the most part, it fails spectacularly. The eggs are tiny, released into the open ocean to become part of the plankton soup. Here they are devoured by the billion. The minuscule fraction that managed to hatch emerge as adorable rice grain-sized weirdos, covered in tiny star-shaped spikes, a far cry from their smooth, massive parents. These larvae are still just bite-sized snacks for virtually every filter feeder and small fish in the sea. An estimated 99.999% of all sunfish offspring are wiped out within the first few days of their existence. So how does any single one survive? For the microscopic few that do, their only chance is to execute the most rapid and extreme growth spurt of any animal. From hatching to adulthood, a sunfish can increase its weight by 60 million times. To put that in perspective, that's the equivalent of a human baby growing to the weight of a fully loaded aircraft carrier. To fuel such explosive growth, an animal would need a constant supply of incredibly rich, high-energy food. And this right here is where the sunfish paradox deepens, leading us to the greatest secret of its success. So what is this miraculous superfood, this high-octane fuel powering the most extreme growth in the animal kingdom? What does the Mola hunt to sustain itself? The answer is perhaps the most bewildering fact of all. Jellyfish. That's it. Its primary food source is the ocean's equivalent of celery sticks. Jellyfish, salps, and other gelatinous zooplankton are almost entirely water. They have virtually no calories. They are ghosts with a mild sting, the potato chips of the sea. To get any meaningful nutrition, a sunfish must devour them in horrifying quantities, sometimes thousands in a single day. It's a matchup for the ages. The dumbest predator versus the dumbest prey. This seems on the surface like the single worst dietary decision any animal could possibly make. It's like trying to build a skyscraper out of cotton candy. But what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if this isn't a flaw? What if it's the key to everything? Think about the most successful predators in the ocean. Sharks, tuna, dolphins. They are fast, powerful, and intelligent because they have to be. They are locked in an evolutionary arms race, hunting high-energy prey like fish and squid. In their world, jellyfish are a waste of time. There is almost no competition for them. And so the sunfish found a loophole by specializing in a food source that is so pathetic no one else wants it. The Mola has an entire globe-spanning buffet all to itself. Suddenly, its bizarre body starts to make a terrifying amount of sense. That lack of a swim bladder which makes it so clumsy, it's a superpower. It allows the Mola to travel vertically through the water column with incredible freedom. It can dive to pitch-black depths of over 800 meters to hunt and then ascend rapidly without the risk of its internal gases expanding and killing it. Its huge, vacant eyes, they are perfectly adapted for seeing the faint, bioluminescent glow of jellies in the deep, dark water. And its tiny, useless mouth, it's a highly effective suction tube for slurping up its soft-bodied victims. The food is then passed back to a set of long, claw-like teeth in its throat, pharyngeal teeth, that mash the prey apart and prevent the slippery jellies from escaping. It's not a mouth for fighting, it's a specialized tool for consumption. The sunfish isn't an idiot, it's a specialist. Its entire ridiculous anatomy is a finely tuned instrument for hunting the most abundant, uncontested food source on the planet. So, let's reconsider the evidence. We accused the sunfish of having a body built by committee, but we were wrong. Its clumsy, low-energy design isn't a flaw, it's a feature. It doesn't need to be a torpedo like a tuna because its prey doesn't run away. Instead of wasting calories on dense muscle and aggressive speed, it has perfected the art of minimalist travel. It is the ultimate energy conservationist in an environment where its fuel is abundant, but incredibly low grade. It's not a warrior, it's the great placid grazer of the ocean plains. We mocked its passive defense, calling it the frisbee of the sea. But why invest in expensive armor or weaponry when you can make yourself inedible? By being a gelatinous, parasite-ridden, and nutritionally void meal, the sunfish has evolved the perfect passive deterrent. The energy it saves by not fighting is channeled directly into its single most important survival tool, growth. And that brings us to its reproductive strategy, the so-called billion failures. We saw it as wasteful, but it is in fact the entire foundation of its empire. The 300 million eggs aren't a sign of desperation. They are a calculated investment in a single outcome. The goal is not for every larva to survive, but for a tiny handful to reach the explosive growth phase. That incredible 60 million-fold increase in mass is its true armor. Fueled by an endless supply of jellyfish, a young sunfish grows so large, so quickly, that it effectively removes itself from the menu of almost every predator in the ocean. This is the sunfish's genius. It is a three-point plan for total oceanic domination through pacifism and deliberate mediocrity. 1. Eat the food nobody else wants. 2. Waste zero energy on anything but growth. 3. Grow so enormous that you become untouchable. It is a creature that has looked at the brutal, high-stakes arms race of the ocean, a world of sharp teeth and lightning reflexes, and simply refused to participate. It didn't just survive the game, it found a way to win by playing a different one entirely. So, we come to the end of our story, and the dumbest fish alive doesn't seem so dumb anymore. The Mola is a creature that forces us to redefine our ideas of success and intelligence. It's a living testament to the fact that evolution doesn't always reward the fastest, the strongest, or the sharpest. Sometimes, it rewards the one who finds the simplest, most efficient path forward, even if that path looks utterly ridiculous to the rest of the world. The sunfish is nature's great lateral thinker. It thrives not by competing, but by sidestepping competition entirely. It prospers not through aggression, but through a profound and radical passivity. In its vacant, serene gaze, we might see not stupidity, but a form of wisdom, a creature completely at peace, unburdened by the frantic struggle for survival that defines so much of life on Earth. It is a master of its own unique existence, a perfectly adapted specialist for a world of its own making. The ocean sunfish is a reminder that the universe is far stranger and more ingenious than we often give it credit for. It's a lesson written in flesh and bone that the most successful strategy is not always the most obvious one. So the next time you see this giant, goofy, impossible creature, look past the derpy face and the half-finished body. You're not looking at an evolutionary mistake. You're looking at one of its most subtle and most triumphant masterpieces.